Hello.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
We're in our glam today because we actually had snow in Austin yesterday.
It's a rare occurrence.
Yeah.
So we
decided to put our fake furs on.
Yeah. I'm always confused as to whether it just started or it started before. So if it just started, we were just sharing why we're wearing our fake furs this morning because of the cold here in Austin. So anyway, we're very excited to share with you today. Due to popular demand, we put out a little poll and asked what you guys wanted to hear. And the most popular topic was lessons from an 80K month and $1 million year. So this is going to be a fun one today. We're super excited to have you here. I see some of you joining us live. Hey, hi Tanya. So
hi, lady.
Yeah,
it's been a while. Yeah,
Tanya's a long time. When did Tanya first work with you?
Oh gosh, Tanya, when was the first time? Like 1990 or 1992 or something? Yeah.
For everyone else tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you. Make sure you can hear us and see us and everything. Hi, Christine. Oh, awesome. Good
nice
to see you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, who this is for.
Yeah, who this is for. So this is for, all of you, here's the thing, is that we're talking about 80K month, but I do want to make it so wherever you are in your coaching practice or in your business, if you're just starting out or if you're at 100,000 or six figures, this is for you because the principles that we're going to share today, you can really use in any stage of your business. And it's going to up-level you no matter where you are. And we also want to be sensitive because we know this is a very challenging time for many people. And we want to say too, if you've lost your job or you're in a position that, you are struggling right now, we also want to inspire you to continue to look and see what you want to do. If you have to get a job right now, then you do that and you go for it. But if you have this dream or desire in you, now is also the perfect time to start that. And I really want to encourage people. And I know that you have to work your job, but if you spend some time on the side going for your dream or your project or educating yourself, I also think right now is such an important time to educate ourselves. I'm doing that. I'm spending an enormous amount of time learning right now because we're home so much that right now that whatever you dream or whatever your desire is, that now is the time. We need your intelligence, your beauty, your dream in this world. So I want to start with that today.
Yeah. Absolutely. So being here on the live today is a great first step. You are educating yourself right now and really to just be continuing to, like Gigi said, whatever you can do, taking baby steps. We've talked about this a lot lately in the direction of your dreams because those add up over time. You'll look back and go, oh my gosh, I'm so much further along. So again, like she was saying, it's really, this isn't about, oh, they're so far ahead and I have so far to go and, getting down on yourself because that's so easy to do online when you see everybody else.
Yeah.
But you don't see what people have gone through to create what they've created. So be kind to yourself and let's have some fun today.
Yeah. So Tanya, 1996. Oh my gosh, how many years ago?
Been a little while,
30?
25 years.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So thank you for being on. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for everyone. So let's talk about, McKenna, what are the principles that we wanted to share today?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to kind of interview you on this topic because everything I learned probably around this has pretty much come from Gigi.
Oh,
so.
I don't think
so. And so one thing that I'm still really learning and grasping, but that Gigi's been telling me for many years, is that it's not about effort. So reaching let's say a financial goal or any kind of goal really is not about the effort completely. It's about the energy.
Yeah, this is a good one. And it feels a little theoretical when I talk about it, but it's a practice. And if you start to pay attention, so just think about in your lifetimes when you've efforted at something and you've done it and the energy of that, right? In terms of, you have your to-do list, you stay up late at night and you're efforting along and maybe you get results, but in the results, no magic happens. And then think about a time when you wanted something really, really bad, okay? Like, that new car or that whatever, and you want it. and you get out and you do what it takes, but there's this excitement and energy to it. So that is the difference, and that's a very simple difference. There's much more depth to that. I also like to make the distinction between effort and intent. So when I effort, I'm going to do it, but there's, again, it's hard work in such a way that there's no aliveness in that. There's no that you're going after this because you are passionate, because you want to make this difference, because you want to create this income. For some of you that are very wealth generated, that's okay. You want to create this number because it also shows you, boy, I've made it, or I've done something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So
yeah, so I'm thinking of an example. We were talking about this recently because this is something I go in and out of grasping, right? It's like, I get it, Gigi tells me it. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the flow and in the magic, and then other times I'm very much tend to be a little bit linear and left-brained, right? And so I can get into the hard work and efforting. And so, but when we've had the most results, it's not that it doesn't take work. That's
absolutely
not what we're saying,
it takes
right?
work, yeah.
You have to put in time and do the things that move your business forward, but it's about doing that, but also I think there's something to like sitting back, you say, and kind of being in your energy, because what you're able to see in that place is very different.
Yeah.
And when you talked about, has there ever been a time when this has flowed really naturally? Of course, when we've had our bigger months in business, I really feel that that's been the case. But the other example that comes to mind is when I had my wedding that I was planning in Italy before that didn't happen. But everything leading up to that point of it not being able to happen was really magical. And that was a time when, or an example of when I was just in the flow. And yes, I was taking the actions, but I was excited about it, and I was just moving it forward, and all kinds of synchronicities happened for it to just like come together. Versus some people I know who plan their weddings and it's just a stressful thing from day one, and it feels really hard and challenging.
Yeah, and you had a strong desire there. That was energetically, it was something that she really was so excited about, having her wedding in Italy. You guys really, it was a dream, right? And the other part of this I want to say too is I often see in coaching and even in entrepreneurship that people think of their whatever they're selling or whatever they're doing, like especially for coaches, that I just want to coach, people say, right? And I don't want to worry about the other part of the business. I don't want to sell. I don't want to do this. And that right there, if you think of, that's how you're approaching your business. Now, in that, it's not going to move very far because there's this on the details, but I just want to be in here coaching. So that's the first thing, is you really have to come from what is taking that pleasure of what you love doing in your business. And if you can't get someone else to do it at this point, you really have to learn how to love it. You gotta really get in there and say, I'm growing this beautiful baby, this energetic, wonderful business that every piece of it touches people, right? Not just the coaching piece.
Yeah, we have a new puppy, as you guys know, some of you, and she had some accidents in the night last night, and I think that's a similar thing. It's like growing a baby or a puppy or anything. There's gonna be those things that you have to do, like clean up the accidents that aren't great, but you can't be upset about that and then love the other parts. It's all part of really growing it. So I love that you said that. And the other piece that just popped into my mind about this, just on the energetics before we get into some of the more tactics, is about being willing to invest, I think, in yourself. Something we see a lot too, and this has definitely been a part of my journey and our journeys, is investing in ourselves to really grow ourselves and grow our business. And when people have something around that where they're like, they don't want to invest in themselves, but then they
want people to invest
in them. Again, there's an energetic mismatch there. If that's going on for you. So just start to notice, what energy are you bringing to creating the results? What energy are you bringing to the details and to the idea of investing in yourself, if that's something that's in front of you? Because
and
how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Yeah. Is that your quote?
No.
Just teasing you.
I like to throw out quotes, say that we made them up, or that, they fell in from the stars, but it's somebody's quote. I just never know whose it is. So yeah, that I wanted to say. And then there was one more piece about that. How you do anything is how you do everything. Oh, I don't know. So we'll get into some of the more, the other pieces there. Oh, it was about magnetism. So what we're talking about here too with energetics is getting into your magnetism, because when you do the things that bring you alive, you become magnetic. And so really looking to see for you, we always say there's not a one size fits all way to reach your 6 figures or your 7 figures or have, you know, the life you dream of, because you are 100% unique. And so really looking too in terms of, you know, as you are outreaching, as you are marketing yourself and things like that, that you're not just taking other people's strategies and trying to apply them to yourself because you think they should work, but really going to the things that where you come alive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And another point, and this again is kind of counterintuitive, but when I made my first million I would think I was 35, one thing I saw is taking care of myself, how important it was. Now, when I was in that process of that, going for it and making my numbers every month and everything, there was this tendency to go, oh, I don't have time for that because, you know, I've got other things to do. And I was running at that time. And what I noticed is if I stopped and didn't run, that a certain level of my intent went away. That every time I kept my word to myself and I got out there and I ran, I just thought when I was running every single time, if I run, I'm going to make my numbers, man. And that was something that really drove me during that time. And since I know that, I know in terms of our rituals and the things that are taking care of ourselves is so hugely important also to making your numbers. I know it sounds crazy, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that's been really hard for me to grasp as well. So if any of you are out there a little more left-brained like me, but I do want to ask too while we're talking, because I want you guys to be engaging. We always want this to be a conversation, not just a one-way monologue, right? So for those of you watching, what is your goal? Why are you watching today? Are you wanting to get to a certain number in your business, or you have some other, you know, again, this could be applied in so many different areas, right? You could say the same thing for getting your book written this year or whatever your dream or your goal might be. So let us know, again, where are you tuning in from if you haven't already, and then what is your dream or your goal that you are really wanting to apply this to? And if you have any questions while we're talking, we want to hear from you. So please type in the comments below.
We'd love to engage with you. A dialogue is far more fun. So,
so to the self-care piece, I think one thing there that, you know, I'm just reflecting on when I have sort of gotten this in moments, and I think there's something to the stepping back from the doing for a little while because of the way you can see when you do that.
Yeah.
Well, is there something you want to say about that, or?
Yeah, when you are so in your to-do list and again stressed, then what happens is you lose perspective. And this is where, and this is so true, when I run, when I do my yoga, when I'm active and I keep those things in my life, what happens is I start to see what's the next step, or I see an idea, or I think of somebody to call. And I wouldn't see that if I was sitting there stressing over my to-dos and trying to work so hard. And here's the thing that people often say, I don't have time. And I'm always, let me come spend a day in your life and I will show you how much time you waste on certain things and where you could have put in time. And it's just that you aren't prioritizing it, right? And it's so important to prioritize yourself first. We have somebody.
Yeah. Jody. Hi, Jody. Nice to see you here. Mississauga, Canada. For me, it's to find clarity and focus. Been really stressed and feeling lost. So, Jody, I know you work in a job, right? Are you still wanting to start your own thing? Is that, you know, have you been working on that at all, or have you been really just kind of like, you know, keeping going, which I understand for a lot of people has been kind of their reality of what they're doing. But what would be that kind of dream or that next piece for you to really put into place? If you share that with us, then we can maybe dialogue with you a little bit. So sorry to hear about the feeling lost. And
right now, I mean, I do think a lot of people are feeling lost. And that's why we want to say again that if you can start to look and see, Jody, when are the moments when you feel alive, or think back to times when you were the most alive in your life, times when you really felt like you're excited about something, or over the next few weeks start to notice that and really start to get curious about those things where you feel the most energetic, the most vitality. That can even be when you're reading an article, if you see a topic that excites you. That's the way to start getting out and not feeling so lost, to start taking steps in the direction of those things that bring you alive.
Because your perspective will change.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing too, for many of you, and I think for you maybe, Jody, if I remember from our conversation, is that if you're spending a lot of time alone right now, it's so important to get connected in whatever way you can to people that uplift you and inspire you. I mean, that's why we love running our programs, because and even just running this group, right? This is an amazing place to come in and connect with other like-minded people around the world. So we encourage you guys to connect with one another. And then also in our groups, we have that connection with the women, because so many people are alone right now. It's more important than ever that we have somewhere to go and
you feel like
talk
you have a
about
tribe.
what's going on and share. So really important. Christine, I feel like I'm finally ready to set and achieve phenomenal financial goals versus just more heartfelt rewards and giving too much of myself away. That's really important. That's great, Christine. It starts with being ready and then recognizing that that's what you tend to do, right? And then starting to really, I'm guessing for you, then maybe charge at a level that feels in alignment for that. So that's really important. Yes, I've been working on my blog business and I'm very close to publishing, but hesitate for fear of putting myself out there. I'm in quarantine alone and it affects my well-being.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. What would it take for you to pull the trigger and go for it and publish that blog?
What kind of inspiration do you need? Maybe as we talk today, it'll inspire you in such a way to really, really take action. Because the next point I want to share is called Make It a Game. And this is something since early on when I started running my businesses, I make numbers a game, and McKenna knows this because now we do that. And we do that in terms of like, what's the desire, and then how do we create that? And then we track it, right? So a lot of times we find with people that they kind of ignore their financial goals. They just say, oh, it'll work out, or, it's something that they are hesitant. And often I see this in women. And when we have people start tracking them, it's amazing what happens, because again, we make it fun. It's like, I'm going for this game, and if I make $1, I put it on my board and I start tracking it.
And the number is representative of, for most of you, you're doing work that makes a positive difference in the world, right? So that the number isn't about the money, it's about, hey, you are impacting people in a positive way when you go for those numbers. Because when someone comes and invests in working with you, then probably for most of you, you're changing their lives in a really amazing way. And so again, people get all caught up on the fact that it's money and it's a number. And if you have that kind of dialogue, we want to just encourage you to remember that you are doing amazing work in the world. And so when you make it a game, it's just about giving you something tangible to, it's intangible in one way, money, right? But giving
you can measure it.
You can measure it. It's a way to measure. So when you go for that, then that's fun. So this is the biggest thing I would say, probably other than the energy today in this call or in this live stream. One of the biggest things I've learned from Gigi and us working together is we do this. We create a game and we say we're going to go for this number, and it's exciting and it's fun, and we actually track the numbers. We track what comes in. Any money that comes in, it goes up on a whiteboard. Even if somebody gifts it to me or whatever, right? It goes up on a whiteboard. And it's fun, and we have this intent of, okay, we're going to go for this number, and then it's how can we make that happen? And of course, hitting the things that we need to do, but like we talked about earlier, when you sit back too and you're making sure you're getting your self-care or whatever, I want to just touch a little bit more on that point for 1 second, because what happens there, as Gigi was saying, is that you can see things in a different way. But it's not that you go in to do your yoga and you're thinking about business. Right. You have to actually let go. And when you let go, it's almost like I'm sure we're accessing a different part of our brains or something like that is going on, because then a different kind of seeing happens. And those are the moments, like she said, where you go, oh, I should call that person, or I should catch up with some, so-and-so. And follow those intuitions, because we'll talk about outreach in a moment, but that's so important. And you never know. Those people end up referring clients. I have people that end up coming through as clients. Just recently, we had someone join our program, And she was like, wow, it's just the timing of you reaching out and everything. And it was one of those moments where someone I hadn't talked to in years, and I just thought, you know what, I should call so-and-so. And I called her. We had a great conversation, and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so inspired. I'm looking for something like this. And then she ended up coming into our program. So the same thing can happen for you, but you have to have time where you're, of course, doing your to-dos and your action steps, but also time where you're in that sort of self-care or out of that sort of doing, thinking mode.
Yeah, and if you're in an intense, like if it's launch time, are you really going for a game for numbers? It doesn't have to be a huge amount of time. It just needs to be that you're really attentive, and you do, like McKenna said, let go, you know, and you do focus on yourself. You do care for yourself. And
I just want to read.
Okay.
I think this was the perfect sign for me to publish. Oh, good, Jody. I'm glad we could be that sign for you.
Good.
I love the idea.
You have to send us a copy.
I love the idea of the numbers game. It's the perfect challenge for me to keep going. My blog is about educating people on personal finance. Perfect.
Oh, nice.
And creating the abundance in their lives. This is an area that makes me come alive.
Oh, nice.
The world needs that right now, Jody.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that we talk about a lot, but it's a huge one, is that, you know, when we get caught in self-doubt, it's like we're thinking about ourselves, but think about how many people need that message right now, who are struggling in those areas. And when you share that with the world, then you give them the opportunity to have change, to transform their lives. So,
and I think that's for everyone. If you are a therapist, a leader, you know, you are a coach, that your contribution and what you want to do, you have to see it makes a difference in people's lives, and they need it. Think about if you've had someone contribute to your life, or you've gone to a coach and you've gotten great results, or maybe you did a seminar or something like that, the impact of that. And we sit back, and especially right now, because like we said, a lot of us are alone or just at home so much. And so we think it doesn't really matter, you know, and that, oh, I wanted to do that, but it's not so important. So again, it is very important. We need your unique gifts in the world. Yeah.
And I think this ties in perfectly to our next point, which is around being in service. And, you know, in addition to this really being a time of learning, this is a great time to go into service to people, because so much too, when we have our attention on ourselves and we are alone a lot, it's easy to get caught up in our own mind and our own thoughts. But where we transcend that is when we get our attention on other people and we go, how can I be in service? And that is just one of, I think, the most fulfilling things in the entire world. And when it comes to making your numbers and really going for financial results too, it really does come down to being in service to people. You know, Gigi's really, again, taught me this and instilled this is, you know, it's not this, I think this too is what's different about our approach versus a lot of other people is, this is why I call my approach to sales the art of authentic sales. It's, you know, it is about reaching out, seeing how we can be in service to people, talking, having genuine conversations. You know, if you've interacted with us, it's not just a transactional thing. It's not like, hey, how do we get you to be in a program or something? Of course, if we see it can be in service to you, we're going to invite you. But apart from that, you know, many of you, we've been in conversations. Jody, I talked to over a year ago, right? And she stayed in our community, and we're, you know, here she is again getting value out of this. So we're always looking to see, how can we reach out? Who can we be in service to? And that really helps move. You know, when it's the right time for someone, then they think of us and go, oh yeah, they were, you know, so supportive or whatever that might be. And then they're more inclined to maybe come and work with us.
Yeah. And then also if you have clients, you know, being in service to them in such a way that, for me, when I work with people, I think of them as lifelong clients. And a lot of people are lifelong clients. They come back again and again and again, but that's because I am so interested in their lives and their families and their businesses. And that starts to grow something when you have that kind of interest. That is part of making these numbers, right? Is your interest and your care for your clients. That's how you begin referrals also, because when people get value, then they want to refer people too.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there was something I wanted to share about that in the program. I can't remember, but Brittany, I'm so glad you joined in. She said, I would love to be a servant leader. So you've got a lot of different things going on too, and I think you just graduated with your master's, I remember, and you are in several different programs, launching some new things. So let us know if you have any questions as you're watching today. And going back to the making it a game too, I know we're jumping around, but I think that's more fun that way.
Yeah.
Rather than being linear. So going back to the making it a game, this is something that we do in our programs too. So we have in our Aliveness Mastery, which is our certification program for coaches and leaders and entrepreneurs, we have a business boot camp, which I don't know if we've talked that much about this, but we paired it with a business program because it's so important that as you are learning the skills to transform your life and also work with others, right, in coaching and communication skills, that you also be able to grow your business, because that's, for many of you, it's your livelihood, or it's what you want to be your livelihood, whether that's, again, coaching or therapy, or you're an entrepreneur. And so we paired it with the business boot camp, and that's where we really get into these concepts, and it's super fun because we all set games. We all create a game, and then we're checking in together on the calls and in the the WhatsApp thread. We have like a community thread on those games, and it builds energy because you talk also a lot about alignment, and that when several people, one or two or more people align
and say yes,
then the energy that gets created out of that is incredible. And that's how you've heard some of our stories, and what we'll share more success stories here in the group of people who've been able to just quickly, grow their incomes and have these amazing results. It's having, the support, and also having the energy of a group that is, everybody's going for their game and really going for it. So that's super important.
Yeah, and if you're in the beginning, it's fun to have that kind of group, or no matter where you are. And also to have accountability. That's the other thing, is it's great to have accountability. Yeah.
Yeah, and you also talk about enlisting other people in the process.
Yeah, I think that if you love what you're doing, you love sharing, and there are other people who see what you're doing, they see that it has an impact, it's to reach out and connect with them. Let them know you're really going for it, and that you are looking to build your business, and you would love their support. If they know anyone that could, use your services, or they see anything there that you would love for them to share your business. And you can do that in many different ways, right? And especially today through social media.
Absolutely. I think a lot of times people just don't ask, you know, and that's where being really clear, though, also on who you serve, so that you can have a very clear sort of request or something that you say when you talk to people. I was just actually working on some of the materials for the business boot camp, because you get all these videos that train you on topics, and then you're also going through and getting the coaching. And I was talking about the importance of, like, the difference between being on the phone with somebody and saying, oh, I've got all these 10 different things going on and I serve all these different kinds of people, versus having a really clear way that you communicate what it is you do and who you help, so that they can either think of someone, if you say, I help people with chronic back pain who've been struggling for months or even years and have tried to go to all the doctors but haven't been able to get results, I help them really, change that and turn it around in, 30 to 1 to 6 months or something like that, right? So if you had a very clear phrase, of course that was just rambled off, then if that person knows someone with chronic back pain who hasn't been able to figure it out, they're going to go, oh my gosh, I need to connect you with my friend so-and-so, right? So really important that you, in the way you communicate it, that you are really clear.
So that's maybe, Christine, you had mentioned you're really ready to achieve, financial goals. So that's too, is make sure that your messaging is crystal clear, because the more clear it is, then the more people know to work with you and everything.
Yeah, and the other thing that happens sometimes is when you're very clear and you communicate it, but you're just saying, hey, do you know anyone? Sometimes people will go, well, actually, that's me, and I would love to work with you. And so again, it's a very, it's a less direct, kind of pushy, salesy way of going about things, and it's just sharing what you're up to, what you're excited about. But here's the other important point, is being really curious about them, asking a lot of questions when you're talking to people, that these conversations are not, just like let me get in there and see if this person is someone that I can enroll in my program, but that you really are getting
you're
curious,
interested.
that
You're interested, and you see how to serve them as well. Yeah.
So Brittany, when did you know it was safe to leave your job and pursue your passion? Is there a formula? That's a great question. So I've had 2 businesses now, but we'll call my previous business like my job, because it was kind of like a job in that I didn't have to market myself that much. I got the clients through referral. So it was kind of like put in the hours and get the paycheck, although I was an entrepreneur. So Gigi really supported me in this. And this is something that we often say to people is, don't quit your day job.
Yeah.
A lot of people think I'm going to save up all this money and then I'm going to go quit and I'm going to start my own thing. But there's so much you're going to learn when you start to, start your own business and actually go for sales and go for, moving that forward and earning with it, that it's really ideal if you can have some kind of income while you're doing that you don't just try to do the flip unless you're really, really clear that you're ready for that. And so for me, it was a transition. It was a transition. So often people will go to, they'll get some money moving, and then they will go to part-time or something like that, or they'll try to find something more flexible as they're making the shift.
Yeah, I think, Brittany, it's important to choose, if you are thinking of changing, choose a project that you can do on the side that has a beginning, middle, and end, and that is around in the direction that you want to move. That's what I recommend. Now, sometimes I recommend people go for it, but that is if you feel extremely confident, you can get out and you can absolutely start making the numbers you need in order to take care of yourself. If you can't do that, then do dual. Like with McKenna, like she said, we worked on it. She went to part-time in her career, started building, and then I also really helped her.
8 months for me to transition.
I helped her too, because she was working with a lot of different clients, and we got it to where she was only working with one, to where she didn't have to be moving her attention all over the place. And it gave her time then to build on this other project that she was working on, because at first for us it was kind of like a project working together before we decided to really go into business together. So the same thing for you is to see what is that project, what's a beginning, middle, end, and you go out there and you go after it to earn a certain amount of money. And then you'll learn so much in doing that right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very important that be a project that actually can earn, because a lot of times people get caught up doing a lot of things that don't have immediate earning potential, which is fine. But if you really want to quit your job, then you want to go for something that can actually earn for you. And we do this with the women in our program, is if they want to make a career transition, then we work with them on that. We create that project. They take that game and they go after it and go for earning. Sometimes their first dollars outside of their job, but in time, the program's 9 months. So we have a lot of time together. And so there's trial and error that happens there. They're seeing what works and what doesn't work. And then you grow and you grow, and then you look back at some point, like we always say, and you go, oh my gosh, I'm so far along from where I was. But it does take time, and it takes that project. And then sometimes you have to shift, but you stick with it for at least long enough to really see what's working and what's not working, which usually is about 90 days, right? Wouldn't you say, if they're taking a project?
Yeah, I say 90 days. Yeah, about 90 days.
At least 90 days.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure it's the right project, something that, again, can earn for you, something that's aligned and is moving you in the right direction. So.
And if it's something you've been trying to do for a long time, this is where I do encourage support, because I see this with people, and it takes that outside help to finally get the first of all, the focus, the accountability, courage, and the courage, right? And the confidence, because when you have somebody by your side believing in you and really helping you, because like McKenna said, I think she said at one point she tried to go into coaching and she failed miserably. And I watched her do it, and I stayed out of it. And then when she really wanted to make a change, I said, okay, if you want to make a change, then you're going to have to listen to me. That's all there is to it, because right now you don't have the roadmap and I do. And so if you listen to me, I can assist you to move. And then as you get successful, then she can create it the way she wants. And so I think that's a really important point too.
Yeah.
Another thing was, going back to our topic of this, 80K or million year, is it's so important to start now, because I see people all the time say, oh yeah, well, I'll do it when I get my life together or when I do this. And then what happens is another year goes by and they're in the same position. And I think you can ask anybody who's worked with us that that's one of the most powerful things. When you consistently work on your idea, your business, every day with support, at the end of the year, you've spent, let's eliminate holidays, whatever, I don't know how many days, 300 days a year focused, and you will see, you won't recognize where you were a year before. And people don't realize this. And or if you keep on saying, I'm going to start that coaching practice someday, take the risk, get support, and then come in and start doing it, because the change you will see, or here's the other thing, you may see, I want to do something different. And this is what I tell my clients also, is then you don't have that sitting on in your mind anymore, that project or that idea. Then you can eliminate and get more focused about what is the right thing to go for it.
Yeah. And we want to offer to those of you watching, you may have seen this on some of our other calls, but if you haven't reached out to us yet, we do these clarity calls, and they're really powerful. And it's an opportunity for you to get in there. They're breakthrough sessions. They're usually around 90 minutes, sometimes up to 2 hours, because we're really going to get in there and see what is the vision, what do you want to create, and then also what's getting in your way, because that's the other thing is often there are patterns that work, there's,
and you can't see them
and
yourself.
You can't see them. There's blind spots. And so it takes having someone outside of yourself to really support you in seeing what's there so that you can break through it, so that you can actually take action in the direction of your dreams and move you forward. So if that's something you're curious about, just type clarity below and we'll reach out to you and set that up. So would love to support you in that way. All right, we're almost done here. I think a couple more points. I guess the last point actually we want to talk about is getting people on the phone.
I think getting people on the phone. I know it's the age of social media, and I know it's so powerful and amazing, but still talking with people and getting them on the phone. Connecting. This is the way I made big numbers in my businesses, because what happened there is you connect with people, and it's very different. Social media is great, and I know especially for the younger generation, they connect more to that. But that human contact and that getting on the phone and talking to people and being interested and being curious, out of that, magic happens. Absolutely magic happens. Yeah, things that you wouldn't have been able to imagine happen, or like I said, you talk to somebody and maybe they're not a client, but they say, hey, my sister is really, really needing something like this. So I really encourage the phone.
Yeah, this is how I built my first business too, to 6 figures plus, was I just got on the phone and talked to people. I would go to events, and people would refer after, sometimes a year or 2 years, I would get a call or I'd get an email. Oh, so-and-so told me, at the time I was doing marketing strategy, that you do marketing, that you do copy, and they would reach out to me. So what happens is this, I always imagine this, this is my little visualization, but I always imagine this invisible field gets built of this big cloud, and the more you talk to people and you connect and you're curious, it's kind of like this big network is happening, and then
she's a connector.
It comes back to you. So I'm a connector in our quiz. If you haven't taken our quiz, we highly recommend it, worldchangerquiz.com. But that's the way I envision it, but it kind of feels true, because that's what you're talking about with the synchronicities and things. It's like this, field gets created that you are outreaching and talking to people, and it does come back to you. And you can't, if you're authentic and you're genuine, it will come back eventually, and you can't always see how that's going to show up.
Yeah, and you're not doing it exactly for it to come back to you, but you're doing it, of course, because you want to move your business and you want to,
Also out of just the joy of being curious about people and being in service to them. And, the last point here is that a lot of people spend a lot of time focused on the wrong things in their business. Christine said clarity call is very worthwhile and helpful. I'm so glad you got a lot out of it, nice. Christine. And Brittany, we'd love to do one with you, so we'll definitely reach out to you. If anybody else wants one, type in the comments below, clarity. And a lot of times people spend so much time focused on the wrong things, and what I mean by that is, they're getting caught up in the busy work of all the things they think they should be doing to grow their business. But here's the thing, like Gigi said, social media is great and all these things are great, but if you spent 6 hours a day reaching out to people, on the phone with people, having conversations, being genuinely curious, sharing what you're up to, and maybe 1 or 2 hours a day you're doing the other things in your business, or occasionally you're doing some posts, you're doing some videos, that's great too. But if you spent a good chunk of your day, 4 hours, let's say, doing that for 30 days, you will be amazed, because clients will come from that. And if they don't, then you're probably in the wrong business. I hate to say it. But yeah, if nothing moves, then something's out of alignment there. And then there's something else to look at. But truly, if you spend, like we said, 50% of your time text messaging people, direct messaging them on social media, but getting them then on the phone, you will be amazed in 30 days where you are in your business. And I'd say that's the number one thing we can say from our experiences of getting amazing results. Back when Gigi first did this in the 1990s, they only had phone, right? You only had phone. You didn't have social media.
Absolutely. Now, of course, social media can definitely leverage, and it depends on where you are in your business. If you have a social media person and maybe you've got someone selling for you, then it's your time and attention's used in a different way. But it's still important to be connecting. Yeah.
Okay, so to wrap up, we've covered a lot today. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have questions, if you're watching this later, please type those in the comments, and we'll come back and we'll definitely answer those, or we'll answer them in a future live stream. And we do want to, again, offer you guys this clarity session. You are tight-knit community here. We're so grateful to be here and be in service to you. So if you are looking to see what's next, if you're feeling stuck in any way, if you want to really grow your business and your income to the next level this year, then type clarity in the box below and we'll reach out to you. We're super, super excited to connect with you. And if you are curious, it looks like we just got our quiz link was shared in the comments below. Thanks, Sunny. And if you're curious about the Aliveness Mastery program, we're happy to share that with you as well. You can go to alivenessmastery.com and you can check that out. We have another group starting February 10th. We already have a lot of amazing people who have joined the group, and we would love to have you in the program as well. And that's where you get the whole business boot camp that we talked about. We just literally added that in as a bonus, and it's an amazing, very, very valuable bonus for you there. So
thank you so much, everyone that was on, and for engaging and sharing with us. We really, really appreciate it. You have a beautiful week, and thank you, McKenna.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, Sunny.